To combat the coronavirus, state governments are taking drastic steps that are severely impacting the lives of their citizens.
I am issuing
a statewide order for people to stay at home. That directive goes into force in effect this evening.
All non-essential businesses have been ordered to close, with the government deciding which businesses are deemed essential. Some, like my own state of California, have demanded that all people stay home. Overnight, we lost our right to freely assemble. We lost our right to gather in our houses of worship. We lost our rights to patronize our favorite restaurants and bars. The mayor of Los Angeles threatened to deputize his city employees and send them out onto the street to enforce the law. Governor Newsom, in a press conference, said that
we have the ability to martial law and things like that.
None of these measures have any end date, and they will continue as long as they need to, or as long as we put up with it. Listen, people are scared, and I understand this. I'm scared myself. But I also know that as a country, historically, during times of crisis, we give up our rights in exchange for the promise of security and protection. Don't we have the responsibility as Americans to at least question what our elected officials are doing? Of course, I believe that we have the personal responsibility to take precautions and not needlessly spread this virus. That can include self-quarantining, steering clear of vulnerable populations, personal hygiene, and even strengthening our immune systems. Here's the problem. When we let our fear replace common sense, we can end up losing some of our most treasured freedoms. I think a little perspective is in order. So let's go back to the 1940s. We were at war with Japan, with the fate of the free world hanging in the balance. Americans were rightly afraid of espionage and sabotage from our enemies. In fact, they were so afraid that they forgot what it means to be an American. After that attack, President Franklin Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, allowing the military to relocate or imprison anyone deemed to be a threat. Immigrants from Japan were rounded up and kept in internment camps for the duration of the war. It didn't matter whether they were even immigrants. Natural-born Americans were included as well because they looked Japanese or had Japanese ancestors. We allowed our friends and our neighbors to be treated as prisoners because we were afraid. So, you say that couldn't happen here, right? Well, residents of California, Washington, and New York have all been forcibly quarantined in their own homes. Passengers aboard the Grand Princess cruise ship were forcibly quarantined in the ship. American citizens returning from affected countries have been forced to remain on military bases. And this is just the beginning of the pandemic. Let's go back to September 11, 2001. We were attacked again, the first attack on American soil since Pearl Harbor. Again, Americans reacted with panic. We just wanted the government to do something, anything, to keep us safe and to punish those who had wronged us. The result was not only a series of wars that lasted for 19 years, but we also got the Patriot Act.
Today we take an essential step in defeating terrorism while protecting the constitutional rights of all Americans.
This allowed the government to spy on American citizens without a warrant and ushered in an era of mass surveillance that continues to this day. The Fourth Amendment was effectively demolished right before our eyes, while we were complicitly calling for our own security. The Patriot Act lets the government track our phones, track our movements, and read our emails. We don't even have to be accused of a crime. We let our right to privacy be destroyed because we put our fear above our sense of justice and freedom. If the government has the power to spy on us without our consent, who's to say that they wouldn't use that power now to make sure we're following the shelter-in-place laws? So Milton Friedman once said that there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government law. And once you give up your civil liberties, it's astonishingly difficult to get them back. The threat of the coronavirus has already given the government the authority to tell people what they can do, where they can go, and who they can associate with. If we don't stand up for our rights, especially in the most difficult of times, we may lose them forever. Those of us that believe in protecting ourselves and our neighbors from this deadly virus, and also protecting our civil liberties, must bravely speak up now, before it's too late.